Hey, how's it going? A really good friend who gives me a lot of tips and intel, who's faded, texted me this video this morning. So I actually listened to it twice. It's only 9 minutes. Um, I mean, they all have some really wild stuff in it, but just as a general first impression was they said governing body in 10 times in 9 minutes. Hi, Denise. I counted the governing bodies for you there. They also used the expression get saved 9 times. Now, is this something they really use that often? Usually they use expressions like you can become Jehovah's friend or you can be an approved standing or by extension, this and that, or a witness of Jehovah. Um, I don't know. Maybe they do say that more than I really noticed. And also, 6 times he talked about being a Christian or Christians, which I know they do say that because they want to appear more mainstream. So anyway, that was interesting. Um, they talked about adding things to get saved that Jehovah doesn't require. And they're not talking about themselves, who are actually famous for doing that and do it all the time. They don't make any distinction between salvation and sanctification. They take exhortations to believers from the Bible and make them all salvific or leading you to become justified, declared righteous, or a friend of Jehovah or whatever. So they just don't understand that. They could have maybe studied theology a little bit or something. It's so clear in the Bible. Exhortations aren't how to become saved. They're what Christians should do because they are saved. So anyway, the irony of them talking about people adding our own requirements for being saved is just enraging, really. It's just so annoying. And then he tells this story about this pioneer woman who snubbed other people on some kind of international convention or some kind of thing where they met a lot of other Jehovah Witnesses. Like she would even ask them, "Are you pioneering?" And then if they weren't, she would just move on to the next person because she only gave you the time of day if you were pioneering. And he acted like she was some kind of crazy person snubbing the other people who weren't pioneering, when actually their whole system is so embedded with this kind of self-righteousness. They have a multi-layered, multi layers, not layers, but multi different statuses of Christians, right? With all those different names that aren't in the Bible, like pioneer, ministerial servant, microphone guy, circuit overseer, and all the way up to governing body. I'm not kidding about this. One time I was talking to a witness about this and I asked him, I go, wow, it's like you progress through these different levels like Freemasonry. He goes, yeah, it's just like that. I'm sure they wouldn't like him saying that, but here they're saying, oh, this pioneer was bad, because she's snubbing someone because they're not pioneering when they have set up this system of all these levels, and not to mention anointed, non-anointed, the Jonadabs or whatever they call them now. Anyways, that was one super irritating thing. And also they mentioned a couple times never feeling like you're doing enough. Like in the case of that pioneer who was snubbing other people. Whoever was telling this story that this happened to her said she did used to pioneer and now she's not because she's taking care of her sick parents. So she already feels like she's not doing enough. Well, how did this possibly get into her mind and heart, right? Like we can only imagine. And then they have the nerve to be talking about how Paul was subservient to the governing body. And you'll just have to listen to that to see how they do this. It's very easy to see that Paul and his chronology of him meeting the risen Jesus in person, his apostleship, and the trajectory of that in his different activities and missionary journeys and things is very easy to prove. He was not subservient to the governing body. As it said in one commentary I looked at, that a couple of times shows that he was independent as an apostle. He was the apostle to the Gentiles. He got his gospel not from the governing body of that time, but from the risen Lord Jesus Christ himself. An interesting verse on this is Galatians 2:6, which says, where he was talking about when he went to Jerusalem and standing firm for the truth of the gospel, etc. But from those who are influential, whatever they were makes no difference to me. God shows no favoritism between people. Those influential leaders added nothing to my message. So one commentary said, here, again, he's proving his independence as an apostle, not being subservient to the governing body. Anyway, there was just so much stuff in here. I couldn't believe how many times they were saying governing body, and it's kind of like a hypnotic thing, governing body, the governing body of that time. It's so obvious there was not a governing body. It was a gathering of apostles, elders, and others from different places that came together. It was not a standing body like the one in New York. It was really nothing like that. If anything, it actually proves and supports the idea of a conciliar, which that's a real expression, a conciliar type of church government, which is actually what happened in the early centuries. When there was kind of an issue, they brought them all together in one place, especially the bishops and pastors and things like that. And they prayed for direction, and they came to consensus. And that's what it supports. It doesn't support some kind of standing group of men with a corporate term like governing body. I think they really want the Jehovah's Witnesses to think the term governing body is in the Bible, because they put it in the outline of the book of Acts. I've come across many witnesses who actually do believe the term governing body is in the Bible. And this is by design, I think. So I'm going to put the link to the JW Facts section on governing body in the description, because it's excellent. He just covers it really well. Anyways, stick to Jehovah's requirements and obey theocratic direction. I mean, how many more videos and talks and articles can they write about how you have to obey them, right? They sounding so desperate. Anyway, that's my thought on it. God bless.